Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang. Adrian is away. Tonight, no apologies from the leader of the NDP.
The Conservative and the Liberal parties, they are the two parties that have built a system of systemic inequality and systemic racism. It's those parties at fault.
Jagmeet Singh says he meant what he said.
My mom was so dehydrated, she was trying to drink from the call button.
Disturbing new details in one of the deadliest outbreaks in a Canadian long-term care home. Tory leadership candidates square off. At Issues got you covered. And the White House bashes Bolton's book.
He's doing it for the money.
The Democrats just bash Bolton. This is The National. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is not apologizing for the remark that got him ejected from the House of Commons yesterday. Instead, he's focusing on the issue he says triggered it.
People have said that I've stood up to systemic racism, and by not apologizing, I've said that I'm not going to apologize for wanting to make things better for people. It's for them that I was frustrated and angry, and it's for them that I'm going to continue to fight.
During a motion calling on Parliament to acknowledge systemic racism within the RCMP, a Bloc MP objected. That was just a part of what infuriated the NDP leader, setting in motion the events now shining more light on issues of race, authority, and power, and how they are debated. Now, Jagmeet Singh did return to the House today, and as Evan Dyer shows us, now the Prime Minister himself is weighing in.
It was that word, racist, that got Jagmeet Singh expelled yesterday from the House, where insulting other members is banned. Singh says it wasn't just a Bloc member's decision to oppose his motion on systemic racism that angered him, but a gesture that accompanied it.
And just kind of brush his hand, dismiss it. And in that moment, I got angry.
Mr. Terrien did nothing.
The Bloc's leader today said Singh owes MP Alain Terrien an apology, but he also acknowledged that Singh's life experiences might lead him to see things differently.
We must not admit what he has said because of that, but we must feel compassion for what he has gone through when he was a child. And I sincerely believe that Mr. Singh is a good person.
Singh's party says he has nothing to apologize for, and today he returned to the House.
De ne pas le reconnaître aujourd'hui.
Bloc members asked the Speaker to remove him, but Anthony Rota says he hasn't yet decided how to proceed. He allowed Singh to speak.
Address the systemic racism in the RCMP.
And Singh did, pressing the Prime Minister on the same issue of RCMP racism.
We need to take concrete action.
Trudeau appeared to agree, and outside the House to side with Singh.
It is not for me to criticize any Canadian, particularly not the only racialized leader in the House of Commons, for making other people uncomfortable by calling them out for not recognizing systemic discrimination.
I do believe it does exist, and it must be addressed as an issue.
The Bloc's leader says his party only opposed Singh's motion over a procedural issue. Today, Singh stuck to his position that he's not apologizing.
I would be betraying all these people who now feel like they matter because someone said, you know what, this is a problem, and I'm not going to back down from it.
And so the standoff comes back to Speaker Anthony Rota, who must now decide whether to sanction Singh before the House meets again in 3 weeks. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Chelsea, Quebec.
Well, the 4 Conservative Party leadership candidates have wrapped their first English language debate in Toronto. Catherine Cullen watched it all very closely.
Why do you want to be the Prime Minister of Canada?
It was a mix of tooth-achingly sweet.
Max, it's simple. I'm a patriot.
You're going to be able to grow up and live out your dreams.
I believe that the children are the future.
And dire warnings.
We see a crackdown on free speech.
We also need to make sure that we do not impose euthanasia on these seniors.
I know that you probably enjoy playing those games sometimes and being online, but let's be careful of the vulnerability.
They clashed on a few issues, like the best way to encourage business to cut emissions.
He's also talked about how we are subsidizing the energy.
But it never hit the levels of frustration from last night's French language debate. In fact, Aaron O'Toole seemed to be trying to avoid sounding too angry.
I am a bit angry with what Justin Trudeau has done to this country.
While they didn't often challenge each other.
As the way we've used a deficit reduction plan. I didn't interrupt you, Mr. O'Toole.
They did wade into some challenging issues.
My question is, what are your thoughts on systemic racism, and how would you demonstrate leadership in that area?
I think we have to acknowledge that systemic racism exists.
But I don't believe that we should call Canada a racist country.
We need to look at how we can modify certain institutions, such as our police.
We want merit and success to be the best, not the color of someone's skin.
But does that mean O'Toole accepts that systemic racism exists? He wouldn't say the phrase systemic racism.
There is racism in Canada, and we have to have a commitment to stamp it out.
McKay was asked as a former justice minister about his responsibility in perpetrating systemic racism. He didn't quite answer that.
Our justice system is predicated on accountability, on very much improving people's lives.
Conservative voters still have about 2 months to make up their mind. Mail-in ballots are due August 21st. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Ottawa.
Okay, so let's check in with our chief political correspondent. Rosie, what leapt out at you during that debate?
Well, a couple things. I mean, first, the lack of fireworks, if you will. The few that we got were in Catherine's piece there, and I think that always makes things challenging for members who are trying to decide who they want to vote for. A couple other things. There were a couple of small acknowledgments from the two frontrunners about what essentially went wrong in the last election. Erin O'Toole pointing out that in order to win, they need to win urban and suburban Canada. We certainly know that. The Conservatives got the popular vote, but didn't really pick up any of those seats. And Peter McKay making an appeal that big blue tent has to widen. They have to push that tent in a broader way to bring in more Canadians so they can win. Remember, this debate, though, was for Conservative members, and it really plays to the kinds of things that they want to hear. When we get to the point where one of these candidates is in a general election, that's a whole other game.
Right, so you got to wonder, what will all of this have changed for those Conservative members?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll change a whole lot, but remember, this is a ranked ballot, so those second choices, those third choices are just as important as the first one. So perhaps the fight tonight was to find out who the second choice and third choice would be for some people, because ultimately that may well be what decides who the next Conservative leader will be.
All right, Rosie. And of course, we'll all be sure to stick around for At Issue in about 20 minutes' time. Thanks so much. Okay, the COVID-19 pandemic is now 100 days old, and Canada has just passed another milestone. The country has now had more than 100,000 cases, nearly 8,400 of them fatal, but most people recover. Only about 30,000 cases are active right now. So how did we get here? Well, this is the daily rate of new cases. The curve is now more than just flat. It's crushed with a clear downward trend. And look at the daily recoveries from the virus. Around 2 weeks ago, a critical point when they began to surpass the rate of new infections. This is the picture of a country beating back its first wave. But as Canada's chief public health officer warned recently, a single case can trigger another outbreak and undo the trend. That's why contact tracing is so critical. And Salima Shivji shows us Ottawa has a new tool that it hopes can help.
We've been working on a nationwide mobile app.
It's been promised for weeks. Now it's about to be tested. One app for the whole country. The goal, trace the virus.
It functions entirely on an anonymized basis. There are no identifiers of your phone, of your number, of your identity, of your address, or even of your location.
The Prime Minister taking pains to allay privacy concerns, even though the Privacy Commissioner hasn't yet signed off on it. The app uses Bluetooth, less invasive than GPS, and tracks who you've been next to, not where you've been. Ottawa says the data won't be kept.
The Bluetooth model is the most privacy protective, but it's also the least ambitious. It's an experiment, and it may work and it may not work.
If you've been in contact with someone who has COVID-19, you'll get an alert on your phone telling you to call public health authorities. The only problem is you both need to have downloaded the app.
Mit minimalem Aufwand.
In other countries, that's been an issue. Low interest rendering the app far less effective.
Such a simple procedure. You download it for free, you leave it in the back of your phone, and you forget about it.
And so Justin Trudeau is cajoling Canadians. The more buy-in for the national app, the better. 60% uptake is the gold standard that no other country has achieved. But the government hopes even some uptake is better than nothing. An additional digital tool to complement manual tracing, with reopening and fears of a second wave lurking. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Ottawa.
Tonight, we have new evidence of neglect at Orchard Villa. That's the long-term care home with Ontario's highest death toll from COVID-19. You'll recall, on Tuesday night, David Common looked into why those 78 lives were lost. Today, he shows us what the province's own inspectors knew.
When the doors closed to outsiders, Marie Tripp could still see inside Orchard Villa, a live video feed from her mother's room that stunned her.
My mom was so dehydrated, she had the call button in her hand. She was trying to drink from the call button.
Tripp believes no one was bringing her mom water.
They were so short-staffed.
We didn't know the full extent of what these homes, what these residents were dealing with.
Ontario's premier has said he didn't know how bad it was until the military moved in, reporting on conditions. But just released reports show his government's own inspectors were called in for multiple issues, even visiting up to the day the home was locked down. Warning a resident had been dressed in stained clothing, residents who did not receive scheduled baths or showers on shifts that were short-staffed, allegations residents were facing verbal and physical abuse from staff, captured by a video camera but wasn't immediately reported, in contravention of the rules.
I don't see how there's a way around pulling their license.
This NDP MPP questions why, after years of documented problems, things didn't change until dozens had died.
It's infuriating to know that they had access to this information. They've known about it. They have chosen to kind of just let it sit, to allow a home like this to continue.
In a statement, Ontario's government says the military was there precisely because we knew this home was in dire need of support, while Orchard Villa says it will address the findings in the inspection reports, noting some staff are no longer with the home.
We called her the queen of the family.
Whatever changes might happen now come too late for Tripp's mom, Mary Walsh. She is among the 78 dead at Orchard Villa. David Common, CBC News, Toronto.
And David and his team have produced a full documentary on what happened inside Orchard Villa as the outbreak unfolded and as families pleaded for answers. You can watch that on our YouTube page, youtube.com/CBC The National. Well, folks with relatives in Ontario care homes can finally visit them as of today, but there are limitations. And as Ellen Morrow shows us, some feel that could actually harm patients.
This has been the worst 3 months of my life.
During that time, Sherry Zielinski could only peer at her mother through a window.
I know that she's very weak and she's very frail.
Now they're about to sit down together, although at a distance.
I am very anxious. I'm not sure how it will go. I don't know if she's going to be elated. I don't know if she's going to be upset.
Before a temperature check for Zielinski, flowers in tow, a token of love for her mother, Margaret, who recovered from COVID while so many others didn't.
We just don't want another outbreak.
Today, Ontario's premier defended the tight restrictions on visits. No one is allowed inside, negative COVID tests are required, and homes can limit visits to once a week for 30 minutes. Since families often provide essential care in homes, this doctor says the restrictions go too far.
They're actually doing the work in these nursing homes, and they're part of the healthcare team.
Anil Reddy took care of his mother every day, a promise he made after her dementia diagnosis.
I'm the one that tucked her into bed every night. I would put her nightie on, brush her teeth, comb her hair, give her meds.
He's terrified of how she's coping without him.
It's a horrible situation for her. It's like a death for her. All of a sudden, her son never sees her anymore. In her mind, she probably thinks I'm dead.
After half an hour under a gazebo, it was time for Zielinski to go. Her mother with those flowers, and Zielinski happy but eager for a future without restrictions.
I promised her we'd go for ice cream and we would go down the lake, and that would be our next step for sure.
It's still likely far away, but the hope is there. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, critical for moving past the pandemic, an effective vaccine. And the World Health Organization says it's already preparing for that moment.
We're hoping that in 2021 that we will have 2 billion doses of 1 or 2 or 3 effective vaccines to be distributed around the world.
It's pretty ambitious, considering the number of viable vaccines now is 0, though 3 candidates are on the verge of moving to large-scale human trials. The WHO is working on plans for the world's frontline health workers, as well as vulnerable populations, to be the ones to get the first doses. Okay, among the other stories we're following tonight, Ontario's police watchdog is investigating after a devastating crash killed a mother and her 3 young daughters.
Anytime we attend to an incident involving children, especially one where children have lost their lives, it's devastating.
Now, it's still unclear what role police may have played in the crash and why the SIU has been called in. But investigators say a Peel Regional Police officer was in the area when the crash happened. A 20-year-old man remains in hospital in serious condition. Former NHLer Daniel Carcillo is leading a class-action lawsuit against the Canadian Hockey League and its 60-member teams. Carcillo alleges widespread abuse, hazing, and bullying of underage players by senior players, team staff, and coaches in the CHL's 3 major junior leagues. The league itself has not yet commented on the suit, and the class action has not yet been certified by a court. And a statue of Pierre Elliott Trudeau, just north of Toronto, was found vandalized this morning with its face covered in black paint. The police's hate crimes unit is investigating, but work crews have already since removed the paint. Well, of all the institutions being called out on allegations of systemic discrimination, the Canadian Human Rights Museum probably wouldn't spring to mind. But tonight, for the second time in recent days, allegations just like that are being made against it, seemingly with consequences. Austin Grabish explains.
A sidewalk painted with the colors of the Pride flag, right next to the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. But support for LGBT people isn't what Gabrielle Aguero saw inside. She says she was asked to shield gay content from some tour groups.
Oh, it was horrendous, because then I had to go sit with my gay friends on staff and tell them I'd done that.
The museum says it no longer asks staff to block gay material. It confirms from 2015 until the middle of 2017, schools could ask for sexual orientation and gender identity content to be excluded.
Seeing the way people are just kind of disregarded.
This current employee says the practice was done with groups of all ages, including high school students. CBC News has agreed to conceal their identity because they fear for their job. The staffer says in one case, an employee who is from the LGBT community was asked to physically block this same-sex marriage display. The employee says now some religious schools will block the display themselves and says it's not just schools who request content be omitted.
These special visitors could be diplomats, they could be donors.
We are aware of apparent cases of self-censorship of LGBTQ realities at the Canadian Museum of Human Rights in Winnipeg.
Today, the minister responsible for the museum addressed the allegations.
An institution like the CMHR should not be perceived as condoning homophobia or engage in self-censorship.
Tonight, the CEO has announced he won't seek reappointment when his term is done in August. John Young says the idea the museum was hiding LGBT content is painful. He says that's a failure on his part, and he accepts the consequences. Austin Grabish, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, one of Canada's biggest school boards has asked for provincial help in stopping systemic racism in its own schools. In Ontario's Peel district, just outside Toronto, black students are suspended far more often than white students. And as Deanna Sumanak-Johnson tells us, accusations of anti-black racism go back years.
No justice, no peace!
The fight against racism once again took place in the streets, but also inside this sleepy-looking room where school board trustees demanded that the province appoint a supervisor to take over the Peel District School Board and make its pledge to get rid of racism in its schools a reality. It's welcome news to this city councillor and mom of 3 kids who attend local schools.
The Peel District School Board is not making sure all of our kids achieve. They are essentially throwing away taxpayers' money. So it's not just an issue for the black community, it's an issue for all taxpayers.
There have been a series of incidents casting harsh light on the board and its attitudes towards its black students right here in one of the most diverse regions in the country. From a school calling the police on a 6-year-old girl to a school board trustee referring to a school with a large black population as McCriminal. The government inquiry found more, like that black students were discouraged from pursuing university-bound courses. Still, even as many groups call for his resignation, Peel's director of education says he's hopeful.
The supervisor will create those opportunities for us to do the work we must do and hold us accountable.
In a press conference today, Ontario Education Minister said a supervisor will be announced shortly.
I'm confirming to you the intention of the government is to do so, move quickly, send in a strong candidate who can drive change.
I think we're all going to be watching very closely.
And she hopes the rest of Canada is watching too, that racism and injustice can affect even the youngest of kids, even in the most diverse of areas. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, the topic in Washington today, damning allegations about the president in John Bolton's leaked book.
It's big lie Bolton, it's book deal Bolton. He's doing it for the money.
Up next, Team Trump strikes back at a former ally. Also, here in Canada, Conservative leadership hopefuls face off. Rosie and the At Issue crew are here to break it all down. Plus, slashing pandemic pay.
It sucks.
Grocery chains cut the $2 an hour so-called hero pay for workers. Hear what Ottawa wants to do about that. We're back in 2. Welcome back. Australia's Prime Minister says his country is being targeted by sophisticated state-based cyber attacks. Scott Morrison says the ongoing attacks are widespread, covering all levels of government as well as essential service providers and businesses. He says not a lot of state actors could launch this sort of attack, but would not identify which country was responsible.
Immigrants are welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here.
Celebrations today outside the U.S. Supreme Court after an attempt at eliminating DACA was struck down. The Obama-era program protects hundreds of thousands of immigrants from being deported. The court ruled the Trump administration acted unlawfully in seeking to end it. Well, the U.S. president is rage tweeting as revelations from former National Security Advisor John Bolton's tell-all book continue to rock Washington. But as you'll hear from Katie Simpson, some of Bolton's other critics think it's too little, too late.
Mr. President, the White House had this book.
The president, as he does at times, saved his fury for Twitter, calling John Bolton wacko, a disgruntled, boring fool, and a dope.
How are you? Yes, sir.
Donald Trump's team picked up the personal attacks from there.
John Bolton. My take on him, it's big lie Bolton, it's book deal Bolton. He's doing it for the money.
He is a misguided hawk on foreign policy and a weak dove of an author, and this is despicable.
In his tell-all memoir, due out next week, the former National Security Advisor says the White House operates in chaos, led by an uninformed and erratic president.
I don't think he's fit for office. I don't think he has the competence to carry out the job. There really isn't any guiding principle that I was able to discern other than what's good for Donald Trump's reelection.
Democrats are angry Bolton is only going public now because some of the allegations are similar to what was uncovered during Trump's impeachment trial.
Good morning, it is. He chose royalty over patriotism. And so he's going to make money off of his book, I guess.
Bolton writes that Trump used U.S. foreign policy for his own political gain, pleading with China's president to help him win the 2020 election by purchasing more American soybeans and wheat so he could shore up the votes of farmers. The president was impeached for withholding hundreds of millions of dollars in aid to Ukraine, demanding that country investigate his political rivals.
The portrait it paints of the president is one that we know to be all too true, somebody who puts his own personal interest above the national interest.
If impeachment is any guide, these startling new allegations may not do much to hurt Trump. Earlier this year, when he was acquitted by the Senate, his approval ratings were in the mid to high 40s, some of his highest numbers, though his political challenges now, if anything, have multiplied. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
And still ahead on The National, Canada's top grocery chains cut pandemic pay.
The business is not slowing down, so why aren't they sharing the wealth with the employees?
Grocery store workers were declared essential and paid a few extra dollars an hour until now. Hear why Ottawa is getting involved. But first, Rosie, over to you.
And we're going to take a closer look tonight at the Conservative leadership debate, the four contenders, the big issues, what's next for the party. Chantal, Andrew, and Althea will join me right after the break. The Conservative leadership debate squared off for their first official English debate of the race tonight, their second face-to-face after yesterday's French debate and months of lots of virtual campaigning. So did tonight change anything? It's Thursday. I'm here with that issue. Chantal Hébert, Andrew Coyne, and Althea Raj. Good to see you all. So you watched it with me. Well, we didn't all sit in the same room, but you know what I mean. We're all watching it together. I expected it to be a little more heated, to have a little more disagreement, but it didn't in fact do that. What did you make of it, Chantal?
It was, for those of us who watched both debates, it was almost day for night. In French, Erin O'Toole and Peter MacKay went at each other to the point where you could barely make out in some instances what they were trying to say or what they were arguing about. Tonight, it was literally the opposite. I suspect there were different strategies in play in both cases. But I'm not sure that the outcome is very different in the sense that if, as everything indicates, Peter MacKay went in there as the front runner, I don't think either night did any damage to his run.
Last night, Andrew, for people that didn't watch in the French debate, Erin O'Toole was fairly aggressive. And in fact, Peter MacKay called him out at one point saying that he was angry. And clearly tonight there was a different Erin O'Toole. He was much more reserved. Why do you think that change happened? And would that have changed people's perception of him or Peter MacKay?
It may just be the format. Sometimes the rules can affect the way people behave. It may also be that looking at the numbers, they're thinking that approach was not going to get him close. If you look at the body language of both O'Toole and MacKay, you would say MacKay has this in a fairly comfortable shape now. He was on cruise control. And it may be that O'Toole's people said to him, look, you've got to emphasize not just the attacks on him, but your plan. He kept mentioning his plan, his positive vision, et cetera. That the pure kind of punching approach isn't going to make the yards that he needs.
How about you, Althea? What did you make of it?
It's like we're watching debates happening in two different countries, frankly. And in some ways we are. I think what happened yesterday was that you had a very aggressive debate between Peter MacKay and Erin O'Toole, in part because the two other candidates really can't speak French very well. Or in one case, not at all. And you also have neither candidate has a strong base of support, and the dynamic there in the last campaign really revolved around social issues, abortion primarily. And so you had not just Erin O'Toole going after Peter MacKay yesterday, but Mr. MacKay going after Mr. O'Toole. You know, are you pro-choice? Are you pro-life? Why won't you give an answer on this? Today, the non-answer from Erin O'Toole really was about systemic racism. We hardly talked about social issues in this debate on Thursday. Instead, what you had really was a campaign for please rank me number two. How many times did we hear, I agree with Dr. Lewis. I agree with Dr. Lewis. I too agree with Dr. Lewis. And it was extremely muted. There were very few points of divergence between the candidates.
I remember,
if I
yes,
can,
go ahead, Chantal, for
if
sure.
If I can just go back to last night, I think part of the strategy, at least on the part of Erin O'Toole, is that he was believed to be going in with the language advantage in French, and Peter MacKay had that shown as a huge weakness. And the aggressivity is one way to unsettle someone who's not really in command of a language. But in the end, it didn't pan out. MacKay's French is still not even Andrew Scheer's level, but it's much improved. And it was good enough that, you know, if the plan was that you show Erin O'Toole to be the only one who could go in a French language debate in an election, and Peter MacKay's not up to it, it failed. But that required more aggressivity, obviously.
I remember after the election, we've had a number of conversations about how the Conservative Party needed to do a rethink about who it wanted to be and what it wanted to be moving forward. And that was the way it was going to grow its tent. That was the way it was going to attract, as Erin O'Toole talked about so many times, urban and suburban voters. Did we hear any of that tonight, or whether there had been any reflection moving in that direction, Andrew, do you think? Not a whole lot. The one thing that people talked about, particularly after the
2019 election was their environmental plan. Here you've got Aaron O'Toole saying he will scrap the carbon tax, but he will keep a large emitters tax, and he was taken to task for even that by McKay and some of the other candidates. So not a lot of progress on that front. On issues of sort of reaching out to suburban and urban voters, central Canadian voters, et cetera, there's lip service talked about it, but not a lot in terms of policy, certainly not tonight.
Although Peter MacKay also, Althea, hinted at the big blue tent, which is something that they've said before, but they need to push those pegs back. And I wonder whether Canadians that may have watched, who aren't Conservative Party members, would have heard anything to make them think about the party in a different way.
Frankly, the most interesting comments on how to expand the tent, because that is the Conservatives' biggest challenge, and that is the only way they're going to win an election, came from Leslyn Lewis and Derek Sloan, actually. Leslyn Lewis talked about not just reaching out to former or perhaps current members of Maxime Bernier's party, but also members of the Green Party. She talked about the former efforts, frankly, that have been done under Jason Kenney and Stephen Harper to bring new immigrants into the Conservatives family. And I know a lot of Conservative MPs feel that the party has dropped the ball on that. So she talked a lot about that, as well as, people who share similar values, religious values, no surprise coming from her camp. And then Derek Sloan talking about not just having answers to economic questions, but also talking about having answers to questions about homelessness, about the opioid addiction problem in this country. And so it was interesting that perhaps the less obvious answers came from the less obvious, less mainstream candidates.
Yeah.
Yes,
go ahead.
On the environment, watching those two debates, you do get the impression that the Conservatives, or at least those candidates, are hoping for a replay of what happened to climate change and the environment after the 2008 global financial crisis, i.e. the crisis chased off climate change from the radar and led to Stephen Harper's majority government a few years later. So it's hard to win, as others could testify, the Conservative leadership at this juncture with an aggressive climate change policy. But I think they're giving themselves a pass on that, in large part because they believe the pandemic has changed the focus, and that if in an election in a year and a half, it will be easier for them to get a pass from voters without being strong on climate change. That could be a very wrong gamble, but it sounds like that.
Yeah. I only have 2 minutes left. Obviously, this was a debate for members, for the base, between one another. But while you were watching it, was there anyone there you thought, oh, this person could take on Justin Trudeau, could take on Mr. Blanchet or Mr. Singh, could be a real competitor in a federal race? Andrew, I'll make you start first.
I think either MacKay or O'Toole will be credible. I think they are both major advances on Scheer in terms of coming across as relatable and relatively normal. Neither of them would impress you with their huge vision for the country, for having a particularly strong advocates for how they would change policies in the country. But they come across as moderate, responsible, likable people.
Althea, about 30 seconds on that same one.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. One thing that struck me the last 2 days is I feel like Peter MacKay is almost like the Justin Trudeau in 2012 when he was running for leadership then. He's kind of like this empty vessel in which you could put whatever policies the party decides to come up with, or strategic advisors. But he seemed very confident and in control. And frankly, for a campaign that we have mocked and criticized for the past few months, he showed himself to speak quite well in French, or at least a lot better than we expected. And he performed a lot better than we expected.
Chantal, same to you.
I think it's an either-or thing. I don't think that most Conservative members in the Conservative mainstream would be angry and would leave if one or the other is defeated. There's no Maxime Bernier wing in the contest. Whether either is really impressive, it's really hard to tell at this early juncture. But I think they have two candidates that would look more credible, I agree, than Andrew Scheer did, who brought no cabinet experience, very little of that to the table, and it really showed.
Okay, got to leave it there. Thank you for staying up late and doing this live and watching it all for us. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon. Before we go, At Issue is also, we're going to take a short summer break, and we want to hear from you before we do that. So send us your political questions for any of us. Email us at the National at cbc.ca, or message us on Instagram right there, or you can always hit me up on Twitter too, at Rosie Barton. We'll put as many of those questions to our 3 favorite people in the coming weeks. For now, though, let's head back to Toronto and Andrew.
Okay, thanks so much, Rosie. Next on The National, a 6-block area in Seattle that's become a political flashpoint. Anti-racism protesters set up camp, built a community, and it's gotten the president's attention. Next. After more than 60 years in this spot outside Columbus City Hall, this statue of Christopher Columbus will come down by order of that city's mayor, because he says it represents oppression. It will be the latest in a growing list of such monuments to be removed. But in Seattle, a different kind of symbolism is at play. More than a week ago, protesters seized a neighborhood and renamed it. As Tina Lovegreen tells us, the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest, or CHOP, has some hopeful, others uneasy.
There's a new name for Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood, a 6-block area occupied for over a week now by demonstrators after police boarded up and left the East Precinct, following tensions and violent clashes between protesters and police. Demonstrators are calling for an end to police brutality in the wake of George Floyd's killing.
It's not nothing aggressive or violent or nothing like that. That's what those faces on the walls. Black lives killed by the police. We want people to see that those lives matter.
Demanding to defund the police, invest in the community, and release arrested protesters. The encampment has turned into a festival city of its own, with tents, gardens, and music. Some say the movement has lost focus.
This is not Coachella. We're not hosting a free block party, and this is a political movement.
And want to bring back the attention to why this all started.
And this is our moment right now, so we don't want you to come out here and try to put your agenda in place for your movement. This is the Black Lives Matter movement for blacks to stop being killed and for us to get our fair shake in America that we haven't gotten so far.
For the most part, the zone remains peaceful, but the scenes are enough to anger President Trump.
The governor has to call out the troops, do what he has to do, has to call out the National Guard, has to do something.
One of the things this president will never understand is that listening to community is not a weakness. It is a strength.
But concerns from neighbors are growing.
Many businesses are afraid to open.
And there are worries over access for emergency crews, which is why these were brought in to create some space, something protesters say they worked with the city to do.
This change is going to open traffic back up to over 1,000 residents on 12th Street.
A signal they say that they're willing to work with authorities. Tina Lovegreen, CBC News, Vancouver.
When we return, the end of hero pay.
I felt very upset that they're ending the premium before the pandemic is even nearly to be over.
A pay bump for grocery store workers gets cut. The backlash next. We are getting a clearer picture of the fiscal toll COVID-19 is taking on Canada. A new report says this year's federal deficit could hit $256 billion. That accounts for $169 billion spent in emergency aid and a historic drop in economic output. But there's another harsh economic reality, one for which Ottawa wants answers. Canada's major grocery chains are cutting a prior wage increase for their frontline workers, even though they're still considered essential. Aaron Saltzman has that story.
For Amanda Nagy, the pandemic is far from over.
That anxiety is with you every day. We've just learned how to cope with it a little better, but that doesn't make that realization of working with the public any less dangerous.
As an assistant bakery manager at Loblaw-owned Fortino's, she says she touches products that have been handled by multiple shoppers. She can't social distance from co-workers, they're busier than ever, and now she's losing her pandemic wage premium.
It sucks.
Back in March, as all that panic buying led to a huge surge in profits for Canada's major grocery chains, the companies offered frontline workers a temporary pay boost of $2 per hour in recognition of their role as essential workers. But last weekend, Loblaw, Metro, and Empire, which owns Sobeys, all said that's now over. The temporary pay premium was never about safety, Loblaw said in a statement today. It was a recognition of extraordinary effort. Our stores are now operating at a normal pace, albeit in a new way.
So that's 11 for, 0 against.
I declare the motion carried.
Today, a bipartisan group of MPs said they want more of an explanation, and they're calling for grocery executives to answer questions before a parliamentary committee.
To explain to the Canadian public why they have slashed these emergency pay for essential workers in the middle of a pandemic, and how that decision, because they made it on the same day, is consistent with our competition laws.
Some say it also sends the wrong message when so many businesses are struggling to find frontline workers willing to return to the job.
If you're going to want the labor that you need, there are going to be labor shortages. You're going to have to up your game. You're going to have to offer something better.
Just not yet, it seems. Aaron Saltzman, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, as cities and provinces relax pandemic restrictions, more and more people are getting out to shop. But there's one particular kind of retailer we've been getting questions about. With all of the retail experiences reopening, clothing stores pose a particular challenge because of all the things you touch, you try on. So what should you expect?
I believe in this particular sport because we're 7,000 square feet. We can actually have more people, but we want customers to feel comfortable, so we're limiting it at 6 people in the store at a time.
Once you are inside, you'll have to maintain physical distance. You may also be offered hand sanitizer, even gloves or a mask before you touch anything. And walking around, you may see fewer things on display, even fewer sizes on the rack. So be sure to talk to staff if you don't see what you want. As for the fitting rooms, lots of places doing away with curtains, relying more on hard dividers, things that are easier to wipe down in between clients, which means that there may be fewer fitting rooms open at a time. Now, as for all the clothes that people try on but leave behind?
So we steam the clothes right after customers tried them on, and then we don't merchandise them back into the store until they've been sitting for a full day.
And that clothes quarantine goes for returned items too. Expect that to be standard practice. But at the end of the day, nothing is 100% foolproof. So if you do buy something, it's probably a good idea to wash it when you get home. But otherwise, just remember, the threat is people, not things. You're much more likely to get sick in a public place from the other people inside it than you are from the clothing that they've tried on. Okay, and our moment is next. But first, we want to remember a legendary singer who has died at the age of 103. During the Second World War, as Britain fought for freedom, Vera Lynn was a reassuring voice for soldiers far from home.
We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when.
With this wartime hit and her radio broadcast for troops, she gave comfort to a country at war and the soldiers who adored her.
All the world is waiting for tomorrow.
She really did sit at their bedsides and performed near the front lines. Adrian interviewed Dame Vera Lynn for her 90th birthday.
The legend, whether it's myth or not, I don't know, is that people would stop fighting to hear you.
Well, I've heard that said before. yes, stop the war. Vera's on the radio.
And her legacy never dimmed. When the Queen rallied people to endure the pandemic, she echoed Lynn's promise of a victorious reunion.
We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
Weeks before her death, Lynn said her country is still defined by simple acts of bravery and sacrifice.
They'll be happy to know that as I saw you go, you were singing.
In one Toronto community, a neighbor has turned into a bit of a nightmare. He's known as Dive Bomber Dave, and you're about to see why in our moment. Red-winged blackbirds can be quite aggressive defending their territory, but this guy seems to be fighting an all-out war.
Run.
For the second summer in a row, he's been just relentless in Toronto's Liberty Village. And now he has an ally. Someone, we're not sure who, has set up a TikTok account under the name Dive Bomber Dave, and it documents his take no prisoners attacks on anyone who even thinks about approaching his nest. Oh, and of course, they're set to music. Now, the reproductive season for the red-winged blackbird in southern Ontario typically wraps up by around July, so hopefully Dave will start relaxing a little bit soon, but then again, 2020, you never know. It actually hurts, just so you know. Like I've had it. I haven't been attacked by Dive Bomber Dave, but I've been attacked by crows before, and it does hurt. It feels like a slap upside the head. Anyways, that's what mine felt like. But just try to remember, the bird's probably more freaked out than you are. That's the National for this Thursday, June 18th. Have a good night.